Well, on today's Fixing Bugs and Stuff, we're gonna try to separate the pan from the body. I recommend spraying these guys down. We'll spray all the pan mounts and body mounts first. See if they get them loose. I'm gonna use a impact wrench to get them off. You wanna see something crazy here too? Look at that nasty heater channel. Rusted through. So, all right, that'll be my next step. So we'll spray these down. We're gonna start adding some, guys, this here, PB Blaster. Start spraying some of these bolts here so I can start taking off the pan. I'll show you what the pan looks like. That screw straight ahead, that is for the seatbelt. That's what the pan looks like. I know some of you guys are gonna scream in horror, but look at that there, you can see it. Somebody decided to do a terrible patch on the driver's side floor pan. I'll get a closer look at it, but that's horrible. Again, I'm gonna show this area. This is disgusting. This is not how you do it. This is not how you patch. I mean, water will get in there. It's just not how you do it. It's not the right way to do it. So please, if you guys have any comments or any questions, I'd be happy to answer. There's a better way of doing this. So anyway, we're gonna move on. We have to lubricate other bolts. To the right side, as you can see, it's dripping here. These bolts here, they're covered by some kind of undercoating, which I'll have to strip them. But these two bolts, kind of concerned about because they tap into the body itself, just like some kind of nut bar or nut plate that they tap into. So I'm kind of concerned about that. See how they come out. The rest of the bolts I'm not too concerned about, since I'm throwing away the pan and chassis anyway. Let's start looking at the other bolts here. You got to take out the spare tire. That's one thing. It's not gonna stay. And then, whew, things are hot. It's hot up here. Pull this out. I don't want it to fall on. There's the jack. That's hot too. Everything's hot. And it hasn't been the afternoon yet. All right, so yeah, take out the gas tank. There are bolts around the gas tank. You can see it here. There's bolts in the flange that go here and here. And there, I missed it. Where is it? There'll be another one over here. The bolts I was talking about, it has like a bolt in the flange. One's there, one goes there, one goes there, one goes over here. Take those out to get the gas tank out. A lot of people are afraid to do that, but before you take the gas tank out, go underneath the car, make sure you disconnect it from this hose. My suggestion is to disconnect it from here and then clamp the hose so it doesn't leak all the gas out of the gas tank. So that'll be my suggestion. Body bolts right there, it has to come out, and these have to come out. So don't forget those. They get connected to the suspension beam. Don't forget about these screws in the back. Spray these guys. Another one here. This one over here. One here. May have to scrub these out, but this should be good. Oh, 6-volt battery here, still there. I gotta properly dispose of that battery. And then, one's broken here, doesn't exist anymore. And there's a big one over there. Got a spray. And we'll let that sit for about an hour. And I'll spray this guy. And we're gonna spray this one. Should be good. So I think I got them all. I think I sprayed them all. Hopefully I didn't miss any, but if I did, I'll find out real quick.
1 hour later.
Okay, I'm gonna tackle these first. These take a 17mm socket. I'm gonna use an impact wrench for this. See, so these come out. You can see has a little rubber here. Have to replace those. Same thing, flange. And rubber here. Working on the passenger side, taking out the pan bolts. Takes a 13mm socket, so that's what I'm gonna start on now. Okay, in the process of getting the bolts out on the pan here, along this whole tray here. A lot of them are really rusted in there. Use the impact wrench. They're coming out. Some I can't get out, so I can show you which ones. Let's see here. This guy here can't get out. However, the rusting is so bad that this is part of it. So as you can see, the bolt move. The rust in the heater channel is so bad that it just won't. It's all corroded. So that's all right. I mean, it's free. Be able to get it out. Get the pan away from the body. That's no problem. Just want to let you know that if you run into it spinning and spinning and spinning, and you don't see anything out here, it may be because it's rotten on the inside, which is fine if you're going to separate the pan. No big deal. But if you're not in the process of restoration and that happens, then you got other issues. You're gonna have to start looking into it. Okay, so the next thing, we're gonna go to the front. Since we did this whole rail all the way down, we'll go to the front and I'll show you what's next. These guys here, right here, are 17mm. So we're gonna go with a 17mm wrench to get them out. Okay, shockingly, those came out pretty good. If you want to see the bolts, they look like that. It's not too bad. I'll probably replace these anyway. But they came out. Now we have to move on to the other side. Well, I got most of the bolts out. On this side was a lot better than, I mean, this is the driver's side, so it was a lot better than the passenger side. So they came out relatively easy, except for this last one here. This last one, it's rotted in there pretty good. So I have to finagle with that before I separate the body. Seems like the nut bar is sitting in there. I can feel it. Nut bar is sitting in there. I can feel it. I wonder if I can show it to you. If I can get up there. See if I can. Yeah, you see all that rot there? It's just spinning. I don't know if you can see the nut bar. It's in there. It's a big old hole. So all that's got to be repaired. Anyway, that's on to the next step. I know it's ugly. It's ugly, but it can't be fixed. It can't be saved. Might as well take out this bolt. On to the other side. Okay, let's see if I have enough success on this side. Awesome, that came out. Usually those things break. Okay, let's try to attempt to take this bolt out. And the other bolt's gone on the other side. As you can see, that broke off. That's how the other one broke off too. See over there, next to the lifesaver, that one broke off too. So I'm gonna attempt to take off the rest of these guys. These are 13 millimeters. The one I took off there was 17 millimeter sockets. So these are 13. Try to take these off. Let's see if it comes out. Kind of hard to see. Since we're on a roll, let's try the other side. That should complete everything from front to back. Okay, we're gonna remove the body from the pan. And before we do that, we wanna double check, make sure we got all of the bolts out. So we'll check here, those bolts are out. I know we did underneath the pan. All these bolts are out back here. And we talked about the pan before. There's some bolts inside that have rotted, stuck on there. So this will be the next step. We're gonna lift it from this bumper here, but we have to take the bumper off. So double check to make sure that these bolts here are in good. Make sure there's no rot around here, because this is the area we're gonna lift the body off of. If there's rot, you're gonna have to find another way to lift it. But those bolts look good. That area looks good. We will do the same thing for the rear. Make sure that these are in good shape, that there's no rot in these. Doesn't seem to be that way, but we'll lift it up slowly and double check. Again, we'll take off the bumper and lift it from back here. Just check the other side, make sure there's no rot. This is just another way to separate the pan from the body. That area looks good too. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the bumpers off first. Okay, I used this board here, got from Home Depot. It was like $5 for this board. It's not necessarily a 4x4, but it's rounded on edges and it works fine. Attach it to the bumpers here, lift it up the car slowly. It's starting to separate slowly, but not fully. As you can see here, starting to separate. The best thing to do is lift it a little bit, just like that. Let the weight of this, the pan, kind of sag. Take a look. That's how far I lifted, just in case this decides, the whole pan decides to drop. It's only gonna drop about maybe 3/4 of an inch. That's the safest way to go. Plus my stand is not jacked up all the way, it's all the way down. That way they won't skip teeth. Safety is the most important thing here. So do it slowly and be patient, it'll work out. Just the weight of the pan, it's starting to separate here, as you can see. It's starting to separate pretty well. I didn't have to really pry. Just the weight of it started to slowly bring it down. And now we're gonna move on to the rear. But first we wanna safely secure this area here. The wood's going across here. I settle it down and remove the jack, put it on jack stands here. These are 6-ton jack stands from Harbor Freight. Again, I'll leave the links below, anything that I used today. And I put some ratchet straps on there just in case it tries to move. I doubt if it moves at all, but just as a precaution. Okay, looking at the rear, you can see I jacked it up slightly. About 3/4 of an inch. Starting to separate. So the next step would be jack it up slowly, front and back, front and back. I know it's time consuming, but it's the safest way we're gonna go right now. So before we go on, I want to show you guys something real quick. Look at the door. Doors looks a little tight here, so let me open it. Now mind you, the body is off the pan, as you can see here. When I open the door, watch. I mean, it's off big time. That tells me that that the heater channels are shot. They're not doing anything structural wise. So I'm gonna leave the door in to give it some structure. I know you guys probably wonder why I didn't take out the fenders and everything else. This is the way I prefer to do it. And I'll show you a little trick how to get everything back into shape. Right now it's flexing down, but that's no big deal. We'll fix that. Flexing down or flexing in the center somewhere, which is no big deal. You don't want to flex so bad that you get a huge crease in here, which I've seen can happen, but it has to take a lot of force to do that. Anyway, I just figured I'd show you guys what's up. Okay, so this is the highest I'm going to jack it up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide the new chassis underneath of it, and I'm going to set the body on top of it. So yes, I'm not done with the body. I'm just going to put the pan with the body so I can just move the car around safely. So let's look at the other side. Let's see here. Again, it's jacked up. Here's the old pan. I slid it out, and this going towards me, this direction, instead of coming out of the front. If you have the room, that's one way you can do it. If not, you have to go through the front and definitely have to jack it up much higher than this, and take the fenders off because the wheels won't clear. This is what I decided to do. Done this before, no big deal. And the next step will be to get these off these rollers that I got. I got these from Harbor Freight. These rollers were like 12 bucks a piece. And I put some wood on them to give them more stability, but you don't have to. It was just, for me, peace of mind. So the next step will be rolling the new chassis in. Okay, I'm gonna slide the pan / chassis underneath the car. As you can see, I took the wheels off to make it easier to slide underneath there. The wheels are kind of tall, so it wouldn't slide this way. But if you have enough room, it's the best way to do it, in my opinion. But going from front to back might be the best optimum way, but I don't have the resources to do that. It'll probably help if I took off the shifter. It's getting in the way. Done. Okay, now you can see that the chassis has, or the pan has, the wheels on it. I'm gonna lower the body safely, and that should be it. Once the body's on, I'm gonna add a couple bolts, and we'll move this whole car around. Okay, I put the jacks all the way down. What I did was I put the jacks in the half position first, and I started off with the back first in the half position. Started with the front in the half position. Be sure to put wheel chocks in here so the chassis doesn't move. That's what you want. Excuse me. And now the jacks are at the lowest position here, front and back. You can see this has a clearance, maybe 3 to 4 inches there. And these jacks are all the way down, as you can see. And in here, you can see it's kind of far away from there because this is lowered in the front. So that's why it's so far away. So let's give a walk around. Just because the front end's far away, I'm gonna lift the pan slash chassis up to the body, like you see in a lot of videos. Other times I've done it without the lower chassis. If everything stays about parallel, I usually lower the whole body on top of the chassis. I don't like having two suspended heavy objects in the air. That's just me. So I prefer not to do it that way, but if that's what I have to do, I'll do that. So that'll be my next step. Okay, lower the chassis down. I put the chassis slash floor pan. I put bolt in there so it doesn't come out. There's a little bit of a gap here, you see, but usually there's a rubber bushing that goes in there. And then, of course, I have the 2 bolts in here so it doesn't move. So you can see this thing's really lowered at this point. It's really extremely lowered, more than I like. So I'm gonna have to do some adjustments to the front beam, figure out how to adjust it higher. I guess I thought I adjusted to the highest point, but maybe I didn't. So let's look on the inside. Open the door. See, the door opens smoother because it has some kind of reinforcement. So that's much better. Again, it all has to do with the heater channel. Heater channel's all screwed up, but looking on the inside, let's see here if you can see it. Stupid carpet. Let's get this out. Get a better idea of the way it sits all the way around. I mean, I'm not putting it on for good. I'm just putting it on so I can move it. Doesn't look too bad the way it sits. You can see the heater channel's in terrible shape. These holes are not lined up. One there's close. That one's off. So yeah, it needs to shift a little bit to make these holes fit. That's how it looks on the inside. A 60s pan on a 66 body. This is a link pan on a ball joint body, so to speak, and it fits nicely. If you can see the shock towers go, you kind of can see them in there. They don't really rub. So anyway, that's it so far. And then we're gonna wheel this into the garage. Okay, here's a list of what I thought was important. Safety first. Disconnect the steering, disconnect the gas line, remove the gas tank, of course, remove the battery, remove positive wires, go into the starter, remove the seats because you never get over those seats if you're lifting the body. Remove the speedometer cable, remove the wire, the reverse light if you have it, remove all body bolts, and disconnect brake holes. All right, please like, share, and subscribe, and comment, and thank you for watching.